High Park.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Transportation. Speaker, the McGuinty government has broken another promise and ripped $4 billion out of Toronto's transit city over the next 5 years. We know who these cuts will hurt. The million-plus modest-income families in Toronto who can't afford to live near subway lines. Why is the government making them bear the burden of the deficit?
Minister.
And thank you to the member opposite for the question. I know that she gathered some folks last night to kind of stir the pot on this issue. Once again, the fact is, Mr. Speaker, that we have not cut the funding from these projects. We are going to be continuing these projects. What we did, Mr. Speaker, was that we delayed some of the cash flow. We are working with Metrolinx right now. You know, when the plan comes out, and there is going to be a plan, we are going to be demonstrating the plan. My guess is that the members opposite will be opposed to the plan as well. But the reality is that we have had to put a delay in place. The cash will flow. It will flow. It will stretch over a bit of a longer period of time, but those projects will go ahead, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would ask that the Minister of Transportation table the exact date that money will be delivered to the City of Toronto. The McGuinty government is the only Ontario government, other than Harris, ever, that has refused to put one dime toward the Toronto transit budget this year. In fact, transit cuts make up 3/4 of cuts to infrastructure spending in the recent budget.
Minister of Municipal Affairs. Members will please come to order.
We'll have good lunch. Might be a little late. There is fine.
Please continue.
I repeat, the only Ontario government, other than Harris, that's refused to put one dime toward the Toronto transit budget this year. In fact, transit cuts make up 3/4 of the cuts to infrastructure spending in the recent budget. Why is the lack of affordable transit and increasing smog so absolutely unimportant to this government?
Mr. Speaker, I'm just going to read out some of the investments that we have made in the City of Toronto in previous years and in this year, Mr. Speaker. Since 2003, we've invested in $172 million to revitalize Union Station, which last time I looked was in the City of Toronto. Committed $416 million towards the replacement of 204 TTC streetcars. Mr. Speaker, we're moving ahead on the Shepherd East LRT. We're moving on our $874 million investment in expanding the Georgetown South Corridor, which, Mr. Speaker, the Georgetown South Corridor, which will serve thousands of Ontarians, which, Mr. Speaker, the member opposite has opposed at every single turn. On top of that, Mr. Speaker, $870 million in funding to support the extension of the Toronto-York Spadina subway from Downsview to the Vaughan Corporate Centre.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our information, Mr. Speaker, comes directly from the Mayor's office and the offices of the TTC, and we're talking about this year. I would love to hear the Transportation Minister engage with the Mayor. That's what I said. Speaker, Toronto Transit riders will be packing Toronto City Hall.
I think one of the reasons some of you couldn't hear her supplementary question was because of the noise coming from the government side. Members, please come to order. Member from Peterborough. Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, Toronto Transit riders will be packing Toronto City Hall tonight to say no to rising transit fares, no to delays to new light rail lines, no to aging buses prone to breakdowns and delay, and no to broken transit promises from the McGuinty government. Speaker, will the minister attend the meeting, listen to the concerns of transit riders firsthand, and finally acknowledge the serious harm this government is doing by cutting transit city funding?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, let me just comment on gas tax money, which is ongoing permanent funding since 2004. $687.7 million has gone into the City of Toronto for gas tax, $164 million last year, and that money is ongoing, Mr. Speaker. I think the point needs to be made, because the member opposite is talking about working with Toronto. What we need, Mr. Speaker, is we need the Mayor of Toronto and councillors in Toronto and the City of Toronto to be working with us and to be working with Metrolinx. Unless we have that kind of collaborative process, Mr. Speaker, we will not be able to make the best decisions for Toronto. So we welcome that kind of cooperation. We look forward to that kind of cooperation as Metrolinx develops the plan to build the projects that I am absolutely confident the member opposite will absolutely support.
Here. Member from Whitby, Oshawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is for the Premier.